before we go on with the forex pairs, I want to look at Bitcoin. So let's take a quick look at Bitcoin right here, and I'm gonna cover what I wrote in the market update channel right here. So yesterday I had an update. On on the overall market, and I also wrote before going to bed yesterday that 17.3, which is this level up here, and 16.9 is the areas to watch. And most likely there's not going to be any trades for me on altcoins or Bitcoin unless we break below or break above any of these levels right here. And if we do break this range that low time frame range low, we're probably going to go back down to range EQs of the overall high time frame trend, which is obviously it's obvious. And as you can see right here, the update from this morning, I wrote that Bitcoin has broken below the low time frame range, as we discussed yesterday, and is now testing the range EQ area. And I believe that is where Bitcoin will find support, with the middle of that range EQ being around 16.6. I do believe that around 16.6 is where we might find some type of support for Bitcoin. We're now testing the overall range EQ area right here, and we could expect a bounce here for Bitcoin. If we do get a bounce here for Bitcoin, we want to look at where would what would be a confirmation of strength on the lower time frames. And for me, it's quite obvious. We have a very clear invalidation level right here that could be traded both to the downside and to the upside. And let me show you what that would look like. So that's the level, right? That's the level. And if you look at this price structure here as a range, you could say that is the range low area, that's the range high. And you'll also see that when you connect the previous levels, that one and that one, using the fib tool, and you'll see here that I have the fib tool and I have it on 0 and 0.5 and 1. That creates a level at the top, a level at the bottom, and one EQ equilibrium middle line level, and that's the range tool that I'm using to mark out different ranges. You can see that and you have the overall high time frame range right here, and then below the range, between the range EQ and the range high of this high time frame range, you have a low time frame range, and that is the range you want to be trading if you're interested in taking a scalp or a day trade on Bitcoin or on an altcoin. You might see a trade on Bitcoin, but the risk to reward might not be that good. But as you know, most altcoins follow Bitcoin, so there might be a trade that looks very similar on an altcoin that looks very similar to Bitcoin with a better risk to reward. Now the trade would go like this, right? So what I'm thinking is, let's add a fib from the latest down move on the 1 hour. Let's add that right here. Now you see that the 50% line of this down move right here is a little bit higher than the range EQ area. Now, I mean the range low area. Now this creates a little bit of a problem. However, I do like the fact that the minus 0.382 comes in very nicely at this range EQ area, so good confidence right there. And even the minus 618 here is pretty good confidence with the overall range EQ area. So if I would be taking a trade here, we can even make this level a little bit smaller, because really the breakdown area, you want to look at this candle right here. That's the 1 hour breakdown candle, and the level that gets broken is actually this level, or even maybe here, right here. So you might want to incorporate these candle closes here, and we'll go and we'll look at, if we exclude all the wicks from this zone, you'll get a pretty good idea of the level. Now what I'm thinking is, for a possible short setup, you might want to wait for Bitcoin to come up and test this area, or maybe even up here, right? Maybe a wick or a candle up into this area, testing the 0.618. Now the way I would trade this is, let's see how the moving averages on the 1 hour look right here. Yes, you can, if by adding the RLZ slingshot indicator, we have the moving averages on here as well, and it looks pretty good. So what you want to do here is, if you want to focus on a trade on Bitcoin here, using the moving averages on the RLZ slingshot and the fib tool and the stochastic RSI right here, you want to see price come up here, test the moving averages, which at that point might look something something like this, you know. You want to have a 1 hour bearish engulfing candle like that, right? And if you do have a 1 hour bearish engulfing candle like that, that you enter on the candle close of that candle. And it's crucial that you also wait for the stochastic RSI to be above 70 when that happens. And then of course the TP would be the same as the TP strategy always is. It's now you can switch it up. You can test different TP strategies if you want, right? But my TP strategy is 25 at 0, 25 at minus 236, 25% at minus 0.382, and 25 at minus 0.618. The average exit is then going to be between the minus 0.236 and the minus 0.382 on this trade right here. That's going to be an average 2R trade, and it has a fairly wide stop loss here if you enter down here. So it's a pretty decent trade I'm looking at on Bitcoin today, if we get a rejection in that area. Now I want to look at the 4 hour moving averages as well. Where are the 4 hour moving averages? Now the very interesting part here is that the 4 hour 50 EMA and the 4 hour 20 EMA is in a similar area right here, so it might be a break and retest of the 4 hour moving averages right here as well. So kind of good alignment with the 4 hour moving averages. Now by back testing all of this, you know, we know that the highest probability trade using the 1 hour to get these types of entries is when the 4 hour stochastic RSI and the 1 hour stochastic RSI align. So we have some good confidence with the 4 hour moving averages and also this level. Now what you want to do is you want to have a confidence with the stochastic RSI on the 1 hour and the 4 hour as well. I don't think that's going to happen. I do, however, think that if price comes up here, the stochastic RSI on a 1 hour will be confident, but I don't think it's going to be enough time for the 4 hour candle the 4 hour stochastic RSI to move above 70 as well. So that's one of the short setups I'm watching on Bitcoin this morning. Now if you want to flip this, right, if you want to look at like where is the short ID invalidated and where are we looking for longs? Well, obviously the short idea would be invalidated here. If you come up here and instead of getting rejected here, you have a low time frame rejection around this level, but you have a bounce here, right? So if you have a reclaim of the range lows right here, you might want to be looking at a full range resolution trade, which is basically where you traded from the range lows all the way up to the range highs. So if you add the range low back here up to that level, you'll see that range EQ comes in perfectly at this top right here, where you also have the weekly open, and right above that weekly open you also have the monthly open. So it's a pretty good confluence area, right? Now you want to make sure that if you're going to TP here, you should at least have 1 R. And what I would recommend when trading a range setup like this one is enter on the confirmed bounce on a break and retest here, and stops in a way so that it aligns with the technicals, as well as give you a decent risk to reward. And I think this is actually a pretty decent trade. I would probably exit 25% here, and then 50% or 75% at range highs. So the average exit of this trade would be here. So 3.4 R, very good high R trade on that setup right here. I do, however, think that the probability of seeing the short setup play out is definitely higher than seeing the long setup playing out. All right, let's take a look at a couple of altcoins as well before we go into the Forex market once again.